Hey everyone, so this video is me repairing the dash. It's a little bit long. This was a months long process. So I tried 3 different things. I am now stuck with my final solution, but the videos were done over probably, the course of however long it's been since I removed my dash, a year. So it is a little bit long, but you can kind of see what I tried, what didn't work, what kind of worked. But hopefully you guys get some information out of this and enjoy the video. All right, so we're getting most of it off here. So we're just working on this top where it was really caked on and where it's cracked. And as you can see, it pulled off this film. I'm not sure what this is, just some sort of coating, but I would imagine that would make it easier for the glue to stick. But there's nothing I can do about it. So I just tried pulling it off or chipping it off or whatever, and it just took this with it. It's just adhered to it too much. So not a whole lot I could do. But what I was doing was I was kind of picking at it and pulling it off, and as you can see, there were chunks that came out with it. So what I started to do was then I started using a heat gun on it. It still took this stuff off for the most part. I think no matter what I do, wherever it's just adhered to it, it's just going to pull it off. But at least it pulled it off smooth and it wasn't taking chunks out like here. So I think I'll just warm, and I don't make it real hot, just warm enough, and all of a sudden, instead of this being real brittle and everything, it makes it, see how that is? It makes it more pliable, and it just kind of pulls right off versus trying to chip and pull in little piece by little piece by little piece, Pulling it off, I can pull it off in bigger strips. It comes off smoother. It doesn't damage the foam as much as if I don't use the heat gun. So just a little bit of heat, not much. We are getting ready to start working on the dash. The cracks aren't horrible, but I've heard that foam works best. So this is what someone else used. And they went ahead and drilled out the cracks and made them a little bit wider so it would get in there. So that's what I'm going to try to do to start with here. All right, ran into my first little issue. As you can see, as I was trying to take the stuff off, this section, because I guess it's just so thin, just kind of pulled apart. Now, I've got a couple of the pieces here, so I can probably kind of put it back together. Not exactly sure what I'll use, but I'll try to get that back together as best I can, when the time comes to resurface it. But, yeah, so I guess just if you ever do this, just be careful. So far, all of this really came off very easy. It just kind of just peels off. But I've noticed as I've gotten up towards the more worn part and the stuff that's kind of probably been sitting and baking in the sun, it's baked on and not pulling up quite as easy. So that'll probably take a little more work to get that done. But other than that, this is because of that rivet there, but this all just peeled right off. So it was pretty easy. All right, everything is off, except for right where all the rivets are. I still have got to get those drilled out and taken care of, but everything is off. So I got to decide what I want to do. Do I want to just cover it in vinyl? Do I want to do a carbon fiber? I don't know. This is kind of supposed to be my own car. It wasn't going to be a show car. I don't know. I think the carbon fiber might look kind of cool in there. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what I decide to do. There's a kit I could buy, like a leather overlay, but that's like $400, you know, if I wanted to do something like that. So we will have to see. All right, so we're going to try to film this if we can here. But basically, I'm just using this drill bit here, or this bit on my Dremel. Just kind of cleaning out the cracks. And that way when I put that foam in there, it's easier to get in to the crack. Just makes it a little bit wider, and hopefully it can adhere to it. Well, the foam is on, so we'll see how this does. It's got to cure for at least an hour. So I was smart enough to wear gloves because this stuff is sticky. So it came out really fast too. So we'll see how it does. And then this piece here, if you remember, that was the piece that was cracked. I put some super glue on there, glued the pieces of foam back in, and then put some more of this on there as well to try to build that up and strengthen that up. It looks to me like it was water damaged. The cardboard was just discolored and everything, so I'm thinking that that got wet at some point in time, and that's why it came apart the way that it did. So we will let that cure. I just hope that when I go from this to this that it doesn't show up. But we will see. Otherwise, then I'll have to try to skim it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I do from there. But that is the foam in the dash, and we'll let it cure. So I used, I don't know, that was 1 can. So I didn't finish it. I had quite a few cracks. I bought 3 cans because I didn't know how much I was going to need, how fast it was going to come out and everything. They were only like $6 a can. But, yeah, so 1 can probably is enough. And then like these are just like little sections of little divots that I'm trying just to fill in the holes of where it got deep. But yep. So we will work on that more as soon as that cures, because it's kind of cured. It's only been like 15 minutes. It's kind of hard already, but it's like sticky. It's almost like a hot marshmallow-y kind of stuff when it comes out. So okay, so we started kind of trimming some of this off, so I've just taken a razor blade and trimming off. And actually I started this last night so I could see where I missed. So like here, I missed a spot here, missed a little spot here. And then this, even after like 2 hours, even though it says it's cured after an hour, this was still kind of gummy, and that's why it's all over the blade. So I'll just kind of keep trimming little by little, and then as I get closer, then I'll start sanding. And we'll go from there. All right, so this is the first sanding. I used 120 grit to get the majority of it and get it somewhat smooth, and I'll go back. But as I was doing it, a couple of little spots, one right here and one right here. Foam kind of pulled out, so I think I'll just drill those sections out again, squirt it in again, and let that cure real quick for an hour or so, and then go back and just touch up those couple of little places, and then go ahead and sand it with something a little finer. It's pretty smooth as is, but I'm going to give you an idea of the whole dashboard. So it filled in the cracks really, really well. And then just a few spots here and there that I kind of just reinforced and made a little stronger. And like here was one of the places that it tore out a divot, so I just filled that in. So it did pretty good. So yeah, I just got to fix those up and we'll move on. So here is that repair I did on that piece, and it's pretty strong. I mean, it's still pretty weak. It's really, really thin, but it's kind of back together. So I am hoping that that'll hold, especially once I wrap it, it'll be a little bit stronger. This is where the steering column comes through. So I just hope that that holds together. Otherwise, I'm not sure what I'll do, but we'll figure it out. So we'll just keep sanding away. But that looks okay for right now. All right. Excuse me. Cracks are done. Everything's sanded down. Took the air compressor, blew all the dust off that I could. Next thing is going to be to try to get it covered. So that's a project for another day. I'm going to take my time and make sure it's done correctly, or as best as I can do it. I don't know. This is going to be a tough one. I have no idea how to do this, or where to start, so it's going to be kind of a trial and error. I guess I'll start probably here and come open over and then down. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. But we'll get it done. We will get it done. All right, so we're ready to kind of start on the dash. It's all prepped as good as I'm going to get it probably. And here's my carbon fiber. So it was all rolled up. So what I think I'm going to do actually is I unrolled it, flattened it out. I'm going to let it sit for a couple of days here. See if that'll help get some of that roll out of it. And we'll go ahead and try to start putting it on. All right, so we've had it to lay out overnight. I'm going to try to go ahead and put this on today. I've got extra here because I've got other stuff that I have to do if this works. I'll have to do like the glove box area and everything. But so got my heat gun, my little kit, and we'll just start trying to apply this and see if we can make this work. Here we go. Well, this isn't turning out too good. I've spent now almost an hour and a half, and that's all I've gotten done so far. I like the look of it, but as you can see, there's just wrinkles. I can't get them out. Then I came over here, it split when it hit this, and now it's not. And I can't figure out how to get it into this groove here. So I think this was not the best of ideas. So I think I'm going to have to go a different direction, which is a shame because I do kind of like the carbon fiber look. But yeah, it's not working out. So we'll have to figure out a different thing. So the next project now is going to be this. And we are going to try this vinyl and fabric spray. It says for dashboards. I mentioned this a little bit in the earlier videos. So I've taped off all the metal and really kind of where I don't want it to spray. I've also scuffed up the smoother parts. It said to scuff it up. My guess is so it can adhere a little better. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to do with this foam. Just the foam board. But we'll see. So maybe I'll need extra coats, something to kind of seal it, and then coats to actually build it up and and do it. And if this doesn't work, then, you know, there's other alternatives that are a little more expensive, a lot more expensive. But we're going to try this one next. So next thing I have to do is I have to wipe it down. I've already blown it off after I've sanded it, and I will now wipe it down and let it dry, and then we will go ahead and try spraying it, see how we do. Okay, so we're getting ready to try this. So here is the before, and we'll do it, put a coat on, and we'll see the after. Okay, so here's after the first coat, and as suspected, the foamy part, you know, kind of sucked it up, and it's not horrible, but it's going to take some coats, I think, but we'll keep trying, and we'll see what we can get away with. It said apply 2 to 3 light coats. I have a feeling I'm going to have to do more than that, maybe do it a little harder, a little thicker where the foam is. But it says you can do it at any time, which is kind of surprising. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep going with it. Alright, well, this stuff did not work. Didn't work at all. Even where it said to scuff it up. I've been better off just leaving it unscuffed. And anywhere where there was foam, it just sucked up the stuff. So if you look here though, like where it wasn't scuffed, and I had some of that, whatever it was that was on top of the foam, all this stuff here, if that's still on it, it actually turned out pretty good. It looks okay. But I was hoping that the foam, once you put a couple of coats on this, and like 4 coats on this thing, that it would cover it up, but it doesn't even cover up the scratches that I put in it, so to make it adhere to it. So that's another fail. Maybe I'll let it dry completely. It says just keep coating it. But maybe I'll give it an hour, let it dry, and then I'll come back and I'll try to coat it again. I even tried to put it on real heavy right here. Then it just ate it all up. So I don't think that this is going to work either for this dash. Alright, well, I let it dry, hoping that it would seal it up a little bit more, but no luck. So, that's a fail. But, you know, I mean, if you have it where it's all still got that covering on it, it doesn't look too bad. It actually looks pretty good. But, yeah, this is not going to work. Because it does not go on thick at all. So it looks like I'm going to have to buy a cover for it, and that's just the way it's going to be. So that's kind of disappointing. I was really kind of hoping for more out of that product. All right, here we go for attempt number 3. So I purchased this cover. It's a nice leather cover, leather stitching, or leather with red stitching. Wasn't cheap. I've got my adhesive, so we're going to give it a shot on trying to get it glued down. Hopefully we can, and get it done with very limited problems, if possible, would be the goal. So, just trying to figure out how the best possible way of going about this is, and we will go from there. So the first thing we've got to do is I've got to sand this down because it's pretty rough. So best I could find, I got 220. I'm hoping that's going to be enough just to get the big chunks off and get it sanded somewhat smooth. I got some wet sanding paper that I guess I can use. I mean, I won't wet it obviously, but if I need to get it a little smoother. But it is pretty rough. So we're going to go ahead and try to smooth this out. So the 220 worked really good. It's pretty smooth. I'm pretty happy with that. So now what I got to do is I'll get some air on it and I'll blow it all off. And then, I don't know, I guess maybe wipe it down real lightly, but the problem is this is foamy. But, I don't know, maybe tack cloth it. Maybe that'll work. Maybe I'll do that. But I think we're ready to start putting down the top. I guess I'll start on the top part here. You know, get the corners lined up. Try to start on the top part. Ooh, it's a little rough right there. I gotta get a little sandpaper right there. It's real lightly just to get all those burrs off and get all the loose stuff off. And that's here we go. So hopefully next shot you'll see the skin will be on. Well, it is on. It's not great. It's okay. Here's the biggest problem. Look. So what I did was I ended up starting from this side. I should have started from this side, because there's a lot more to line up and everything on this side than there is on the other side. So now this was all off. And I tried to go slow, but you can only go so slow, because once the glue's on there, it gets tacky and it gets sticky real fast. You know, there's some creases in here. There's some creases on top. I did the best that I could. So I don't know. I don't know if I can roll those out or anything, but yeah, I didn't start on the top. I started on the side. So I figured the top would be the easiest part, and actually it wasn't, because there was excess and everything. So, you know, it is what it is, and there's not much we can do about it now. But I really wish I would have started on this side. See, even like this is off at the top. That should be right up there, top like that, just like this one is pretty much. See how that one's nice there on the top? So, and then just all this excess glue that was sprayed, but it does seem to be coming off. So I'm not worried about getting that off. I might have to glue that stitch down, because it looks like I might have cut through that corner, so I can't have that stitching come out. So maybe I'll glue that stitch down with just some super glue. But it's on. It is. We'll get it cleaned up. So, I don't know. 5 out of 10. Just because this is messed up so bad over here. I mean, this is supposed to be way down here. And it just seemed like it just didn't want to stretch like that. So, I don't know. You know, it's not like I had a lot of excess over here. I had a little. You know, I guess this could have been further over to start with too. Maybe that'd be there. But it was going really good all through here. And then we got to this point, and it just seems too small. Just a little too small. If it was a little bigger, it might have been a little better. But it's so tight that I don't know. But it's on. We'll get it cleaned up, and then we can start putting the inside of the car together. Well, there it is, all cleaned up. I mean, it's okay. I'm really upset about this, though. I mean, this should be way out here. Should have started from that end, but there's nothing I can do about it. But it is what it is, and I'll just keep moving on. So, but yeah, that's it all cleaned up, and worried about this because that thing sits here. I'm hoping it's enough to cover it. I'm hoping. So you can see there's extra here. There isn't there, but that's because this got drugged this way when I was putting it on. So if you ever do one of these, you got to start from that end. And then hopefully it makes it to the other end. So anyway, I think it's a little bit too small. That's what I think it was. It would have been much nicer if it was a little bit bigger. Because like here, I mean, that's not even pressed all the way down. You know? There's parts that are popped up because of me trying to stretch it. So, this side looks really good. The side I started on. So at least the passengers will have something nice to look at. So I still have to do the glove box because I do have stuff for the glove box. So I got to figure out if I can do that over the vinyl that's there, or if I need to take the vinyl that's off, because there's nothing wrong with the glove box, but they sent stuff for the glove box and it's got the red stitching and everything on it as well. So I think it would just look nicer if it had it, but we shall see.